Guys, the National Treasures Series 2023 edition continues. And what is sure to be a fun one today, we have none other than Dr. Collectible. And if you didn't see him as part of the national content, well, then it means you're blind because this man was everywhere. I hope you had good shoes for this national. You were running around the entire place. I've seen you do a million videos. I saw you personally like 50 different times. Are you okay? Have you caught up on your sleep? Did you sleep like 30 hours when you got home? Are you doing all right? Welcome, Dr. Collectible.
Thank you. I appreciate Cage. You've been a support system ever since I was able to, be on your platform and do the interview there. Like that definitely launched me and got a lot of eyes on me and to people to be able to see my thought process on how I move and the way I move in the hobby. So but for national, um it was a blessing. It was an opportunity of a lifetime. I built so many connections. There was so many people. Once again, the word that I'm pushing for this year national was diversity.
Oh,
That
yeah.
is that I'm definitely pushing because I came across so many different cultures. I mean, people coming from overseas. Um, it it was just very, very overwhelming, but a blessing and all to be able to, be in that atmosphere of incredible people in the hobby.
So, on the topic of diversity, your word, we are nowhere near the finish line of where you want the hobby to be from a diversity standpoint. But how are we all doing? How's the hobby doing for just a couple years you've been in it? You're seeing a more diverse, um, customer base, fan base, participation from companies, from corporations. What kind of progress are you seeing?
I'm seeing a lot of progress. I'm seeing a lot of people that wants to be involved. From personally, from the content that I do try to put out, I'm gonna say that I do put out. It's about the culture of the hobby. I'm not only giving you cards. I'm giving you the people that's involved. Everyone. I want testimonies. I want people thoughts. I want people to be able to see for the first time at a national through my channel, through my page that yes, I can be there. I sat back for 3 years straight and watched people content while I was at home trying to figure out how to get to the national. Got blessed with opportunity with Ray. Met him at Mint. I was supposed to meet him at the Union Marketplace in San Diego. That was supposed to meet there first, but it didn't happen because of travel. Mint, we talked. We had a great conversation. Actually, met up with him first when he was talking with Leaf. See, I got a little bit of Leaf
Yeah, I
on.
see the leaf hat. I see it. You got the stuff on. I can see it. It's a cool hat. I like it. I mean,
I,
it's got to be 110 degrees where you are right now, so a winter hat is an interesting choice. But hey, what can you do?
All right, so right now I'm actually in St. Louis. Came back to see family, East
Uh-huh.
nature. So it's been the weather has been crazy. We get rain, sleet, snow, everything you can name in one day.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, I'm prepared. If I was in Atlanta, I'd probably be a little bit more, dressed. But
No, you're
but
repping Atlanta and Leaf. I like it. So you got to meet with Ray Schulte at Mint, and he chatted with you about what you can bring to the national. What was your elevator pitch? What was your sales pitch when you say when you bring the doctor into your show? This is what you're gonna get. What do you tell them they're getting?
so from what you're gonna get, everything that's involved with the hobby. I'm not only into cars, but I'm also into sneakers. I'm into video games. I'm into NFTs. I'm into anything you name that could be capsulized as a collectible.
Mhm.
VHSs. I got sealed VHSs. I'm telling you on vinyls.
What's your favorite one? Give me one. If the house is on fire, all right, knock on wood, it's not gonna. But you can only save one VHS. What's the movie? Goonies. No,
On VHS,
one. That's it.
I will probably. This sounds crazy.
All right.
I watched the Titanic so many times as a
Titanic.
Leonardo. I was a fan of Leonardo. I always been a fan of him. Even back Romeo and Juliet.
All
Uh,
right.
did in the movies, and I watched Titanic so many times because it was different to have two VHSs in the household.
Yep, it was two. It's a big case.
That was a big case, and for me, I don't know, I don't know, people probably won't agree with me, things of that nature, but Titanic was a classic. The way them boys played that violin while that thing was going
Did
down.
she have room on the door for him? Could she have let him up at the end there? I mean, was she being selfish, keep the whole thing to herself and letting him drown there, letting him freeze?
Enough room. It was enough room
I
on
think there was enough room too. I think there was enough room. I mean, And how about on the vinyl? You got to save one vinyl. What are we saving?
Michael Jackson Thriller.
Thriller. It's nice.
Sealed and autograph copy if I can find.
Ooh. Thriller has the lyrics inside. That's how I learned the lyrics to Beat It. Not the Weird Al version, Eat It, which obviously most people think is more appropriate for me. But I had that album as a kid. I had it's a weird where it folds open. He's like kind of there. He's got like a tiger on him. See, notice the tiger connection. You got that fun. So you collect everything. So you tell folks, you work with me, you get somebody who's interested in learning about different, asset classes, somebody who collects different asset classes. What I would say if I were doing your elevator pitch for you, if I were your rep, I'd say you get a nonstop motor, right? And what I saw from you is it didn't matter who you were out there. Let's do some content. Let's do a video. Let's introduce the people who can't be at the national to the folks who are. Let me show them what's going on at this booth. Let me show them what's going on behind the scenes. So you were doing that. What was one area that you kind of got access to working with Ray, working with the national, that you thought was cool? Like, was it athletes in the autograph pavilion maybe? Or, what was one area you're like, wow, this is pretty cool?
I want to say, far as working with everyone, first off, the booths, everything that people brought in from Tag to Fanatics, Tops, even Jeff Wilson, what he was doing with the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, everyone brung their A game. Did nobody play around? People wanted to give a show. I was so glad to be a part of that. And TriStar, it was one of my first times being in one of them positions where there was a lot of high profile names, from Marshawn Lynch to Chad Johnson, Kurt Warner, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm standing next to these guys, witnessing greatness in front of me, taking it all in. The TriStar, congratulations on what they brung in this year.
I usually ask like who you give flowers to. You're giving your flowers, your compliments to TriStar. I mean, think of what they run there. Think of how many athletes they run through there, how many people buy autograph tickets to meet those folks. It's one of those, sides of a card show, especially these large card shows. I didn't realize it was as big as it is until I went to the Chantilly show and the Philly show, and you kind of see backstage all the helmets and all the jerseys and the pictures and the cards being signed by folks, and then the meet and greets. Did you meet those guys you just mentioned? Did you get to, say hello to Kareem?
Yeah, well, he was very busy. That was
Yeah.
very busy man there. I got a chance to get footage of him, stand behind him, check. As far as with the media passes, we was able to do, certain limited things depending on their agent and what they had going on and what they could and could not do.
Yep.
So, you may have to pay for an autograph, on just how things was being planned out there, pictures, things of that nature. The players are also making their money, but there's also probably organizations that involve like charities and things. When you're speaking on all that and everything was going on, it definitely was a wild ride. And
What athlete did you get to meet that you were like, oh, wow, that's a cool, like, did you get to spend a couple minutes with Marshawn and be like, should they have handed you the ball? Can you believe they threw the ball at the one? Like, did you get one? Because that's fun.
like I got to able to network with him, just be able to be around, yo, can I get a pic with you, Marshawn? Think you're pretty cool, things of that nature. Let him know what my thoughts are him as a football player. Something that I thought I would never be able to do in 1,000 years, just even have a pic and a conversation with a guy. Ricky Williams was another individual that I got his connection, talking with him about, my after school program, things of that nature, and wanting to get him involved. It was like incredible. Even the kids. One thing that I definitely did, I want to give a shout out to Devon and what he did with bringing in busloads of kids that did not have no experience of collecting and leaving out that facility with some type of knowledge of collecting, whether if it's something that they wanted to do or not wanted to do. By the time they left out, they got exposed to that. And it
So
was
talk about that for a second. Who did that, and what was the program? They brought in local kids who didn't even know much about cards, weren't collectors, but they brought them in and kind of gave them exposure to it. And maybe maybe you got a new collector there, but the kids are definitely leaving with something. Who did that, and what was the program?
yeah, so was behind the program. He actually, I believe this is something that he was doing prior. I decided to shine light on that. I said, this is my chance to be able to showcase, with him and his feelings, like, hey, sometimes these kids don't give a chance to, get light shined on them, especially when you're dealing with minorities and things of that nature. When you look around and, I'm just saying this honestly, like, to the average black kid or African American, you're saying that there's one of me with every 10 different other individuals in the room. Let's bring more of that in there. Let's bring more of the Asians in there, the Koreans. I want everyone to be a part of this, no matter who you are, what you think you see. There's always diverse somewhere. There's room for everyone in this hobby, man, because it changed my life as an African American. So for me, I've opened up and tried to open up doors for other individuals to be able to say, hey, I can do this too, whether they're a man or woman, child. I want everyone to be able to feel like they're on an equal level in this hobby, whether if you buying $1 card or you buying $1 million card.
Love it. Love it. I mean, definitely a larger focus on kids. You mentioned Jeff Wilson before also. I mean, he had a ton of kids at his booth. Really great idea that he did. I'm sure other companies will probably expand on that also. Marshawn, you're better than me, man. I could picture, having 30 seconds with him and him saying, what are you doing here? Like, what's your role? And I'd be like, me, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I would, I would flip it. It would be fun. How about Derek Jeter? Arena Club brought Derek Jeter. Did you get a chance to meet him?
Yes, Derek Jeter was a great individual to talk with. Told him that I was a Cardinals fan. My dad actually got well. He's a Yankee fan, so they was able to connect a little bit more than me on the fan base level when it came to sports. But overall, Derek Jeter is a Hall of Famer. Um, his presence in the room was shown. I definitely believe in what Arena Club is doing, what they're bringing to the table. I love the platform as well, man. I cannot say so much about them.
So listen, what's funny about this is it's a hobby thing, right? And it's, you're in Chicago and you're an ambassador of the National. I want to talk about that in a second, but here you are, an ambassador of the National. We've talked about different ways to collect for different people. There's no wrong way to do it. People getting exposure to collectibles, maybe people who haven't even collected before. You and I haven't spoken yet about what cards you might have bought or what trades you might have done, and a lot of it is because it's really about the people and the interactions you had. But one interaction that I had, it's funny, I got into the hobby. I collected with my dad, and he told me about the Brooklyn Dodgers that he used to be fans of. And, I was able to buy some Brooklyn Dodger cards. Carl Erskine, was somebody like Carl Furillo, people no one even heard, but those were the Jersey nights, the Carl Furillo night was where he went to the game, and, it, you know, it's a mother, son, father, daughter, father, son. There's no right or wrong way to do it. But I know I collected with my dad. And one of the best interactions I had vis-a-vis you was I met your dad, right? And he's out there and he is so proud of you. He's wearing your seventh grade jersey, telling folks how, nothing that's going on with you should be a surprise because it's not a surprise to him because you were always out there, always storytelling, always ready to look out for somebody else. And that's what you're going to bring to the hobby. And it was a great moment. My father's no longer with us. It was cool to see you bringing your dad along. You brought your dad in to see Derek Jeter. I mean, that's a cool thing. That's the hobby.
That's exactly what it is, man. I tried to hold back tears of that moment because all I want to do is like every child just wants to make their father proud. That's be sure that if you have a great father, which I'm hoping most people have. But people go through situations in life. But if you had that father in your life and he's always been your backbone, you just wanted to do something to make him proud. And that was my one moment where I knew I had full control of certain situations in my hand, where I was able to get my dad around, certain individuals like Derek Jeter. And I wanted to take advantage of that and share that moment of myself along with me, but with my father. And I'm hoping a lot of people learn from that. Like, there's different ways of being able to get back to the hobby. I mean, I didn't come out of a dime of my pocket to make my father happy there.
Yeah.
All work that I put in to be able to put myself in that position, and wanted to share that with him.
So speaking of your hard work, I was hoping, because there's no picture here for folks who are watching, they can see you with your Leaf hat and the ATL, the Super Bowl sweatshirt, and the whole 9 yards. You're not wearing your onesie. That's what I called it. I was hoping you would put it on. Thou had this outfit on, right? This ambassador outfit. I don't know. Was it sort of like a pit crew outfit? It was like overalls, but with sleeves. Tell me about this outfit. Describe this. Was this like required wearing? Like when you signed your contract, they said you had to wear this onesie, or did you design this thing? It was, I mean, it was sort of fashionable, but very interesting. You knew where you were at all times. What'd you have going on there?
So to start off with it was the idea that me and my guy Doc Bando came with, and we said, hey, I always been a fan of Jeff Gordon growing up.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. NASCAR outfits. Yeah.
So my idea with NASCAR, they have it to where on their jumpsuits they have all these logos going on, and they stand like this, stand to the side, and they got their pictures. And Jeff Gordon I was a big fan of Jeff Gordon growing up. And one thing about me, I sell business in the hobby. That's the one thing I do. I work with a lot of businesses, and I want to put a lot of them businesses didn't make it on there because of the timing and things of that nature, digitalizing logos, getting approvals, things of that nature. But what I stuck with was like, yo, I'm gonna go the NASCAR route. Um, NASCAR, I thought of diverse, opening up people's minds to NASCAR, and I was like, yo, we at the road to the national. Let's go with the NASCAR outfits. And what I decided to do, I put the brand ambassador logo on there, my logo, the national media ambassador. I put G Fuel on there because they're not a competitor of anyone. They are an energy drink that I'm partnering with, which I'm trying to get them into the hobby. I'm working some things, I'm like, yo, this could be a dope idea. So we did it, came with the idea, did the photo shoot. Think about going to like getting in a NASCAR and doing like some things in the car, things of that nature. But we did a photo shoot, and at that day I said, I'm going to announce that I was the first African American to become a media ambassador for the national show. Because I did my research and I looked and I was like, there was never a African American for as being a face for one of the biggest conventions in the world when it
Yep.
comes to
120,000 people, and you're the media ambassador. You kind of look like a hobby Ghostbuster, if I'm allowed to say. It was like, a jumpsuit. It was pretty cool. I liked it.
all right, so at the photo shoot, I was like, there's two things that I think people is going to say when it comes to they're going to say Ghostbusters, or they're going to say the Super Mario movie back in the 90s.
Yeah, that too. That worked too.
Yeah.
You guys look, I mean, unmistakable, right? It's branding. I went the other route. I'm walking around with a T-shirt with the Beckett guy on it, asking people if they found him. I mean, we all have our.
That it is psychological marketing. That's what I call it. Me and you get, but yeah, that's dope. I
I
love what
like it. So you've been to other shows. Obviously, you're well traveled. You've been on our podcast before. Anything that kind of stuck out about the national for you? This time around, was it just the massive size of it, the amount of people there, the non-working air conditioning? Anything you took away that said, all right, these guys did a really good job with this? Was it the autograph pavilion? Anything you're like, wow, this national is great? Kind of something you hope to see in future nationals? That you haven't seen at other shows before? Anything like that?
So this here was like, all right, so it was my first national.
Mhm.
So being at other conventions, things of that nature, okay, this is a biggest one that I ever attended. I'm gonna be honest with you.
What's the biggest one ever? It broke the record. The Anaheim 91 was the measuring stick, and this one is the most attended national ever. Yeah.
Wow. Um, that's incredible. That shows us where the hobby is at right now. Um, everyone once again run their A game. I felt like I was at the what I call it is the World Series, the Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it, the biggest thing that you can say in sports, the NBA Finals. This was it, and you had to be ready. I learned so much from so many people. Let me know, hey, you cannot prepare for this. It's overwhelming. It's the, like I prep mentally.
Mm-hmm.
I walked 6.5 miles one day. Like we did me and my friends, like, and I'm gonna get back to the Nash, but me and my
Yeah,
friends,
that's good.
we did this video. Shout out to Denny Cars, and he did this video where we wanted to see, yo, how many miles did we actually walk in here already? And it was half of the day, and I walked. I think one of my longest days was 6.5 miles. Ray's son had over 10 miles. Think about it. He's going everywhere, helping pops out. But then on top of that, he's with Ray, he's with me. That man had 10 miles on his feet. Like, so for me, it was like the Disney World of sports conventions. I got to see some amazing displays of areas and booths that I never seen before. Fanatics, what they brought. It was like the DJ, the stage, live television. I love what Dave and Adam did with the chase. That was amazing. Like you gave us a live show.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. I'm telling you, it was very overwhelming, and everyone had something to bring. Everyone booth had something nice. Everyone was educating everyone. eBay. I worked with eBay Collectible Saturday. Amazing booth. I got to come across Dennis Rodman. Um, Not only that, Floyd Mayweather,
Wow.
Joe Montana, and I never thought I would come across these guys ever in my life. And literally in one day, I came across Derek Jeter, um, Michael Rubin, and Gary V. All
That
in.
was Rubin. You know, I've never actually met him. I've seen him a million times. I've been in the same show. I've been backstage. The Philly show. I shook his hand once, but he was, in a rush. He was just kind of doing the handshake thing. A couple of other folks with cameras at that show jumped in front of him, didn't let him continue, and interviewed him and edited the video to make it look like they had this full fireside chat with him. It's not my speed. I want to actually talk to him when he knows who I am. I don't think he knows who I am yet, but we'll get there one day. But you got some time. You met Michael Rubin. Nice enough guy. Did he give you the impression he cares about the direction the hobby's going?
Yeah, to be honest with you, the day he followed me on Instagram, it was like 4 in the morning. It came from a reel that he watched. And I thought that was very interesting. I'm like, somehow I caught his attention. And from there, the conversation broke off like, yo, I've been watching you lately. I love what you're doing, things of that nature. And we just chatted off.
Nice.
Exactly who I was, branding, things of that nature. I made sure I wear my Dr. Collectible hat. Oh, I'm like, I want to make sure this guy know who I am.
Next time you got to get him a jumpsuit and have him walk around in the onesie with you. It'd be fantastic content.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great character. He does want to do a lot with the hobby. He does believe in educating the people. He does believe in bringing a solid brand for people to want to like within the hobby. To me, I feel like in any man's position, you see opportunity for us, like how he acquired PWCC, things of that nature, and you feel like you have a global vision for a hobby. Not we talking about a hobby here, not someone that usually people are known to do on an everyday basis, which I'm doing now, which has changed my life. So for him to want to globalize what this community is all about and doing it through Fanatics, Tops, taking over PWCC and just acquiring other businesses and taking this thing to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
For that, I'm glad someone decided to step in and also they're bringing the culture as well to the hobby. I love it. I love what he's doing, and kudos to him, and I hope he continues to
I
flourish.
like it. I like it. So, how about the cards? Did you bring any of your own cards? Were you trading? Were you at the trade night making any trades? Did you see any cool cards? Buy any cool cards? Give me, 30 seconds on the card because I would be not surprised if you told me, you know what, Cage, I was so busy doing my stuff, I didn't even have a chance to, to look at cards or trade cards. It wouldn't surprise me because for the first couple of days that I was there, it's the same. Like I was able to sneak away a little bit here and there and look at some tables, but it wasn't until sort of the end where I made sure I budgeted time to go and walk around and stuff like that, that I got to actually see the cards. How about you? Any cards stick out? Anything cool?
I was looking for Kobe Bryant autos. That's my big Kobe Bryant. I always like to buy pop ones, things of that nature. We had that
Yep.
conversation, but I didn't have a chance to buy anything into the last second of the show. And it was when everyone was out there just trading. And I bought two cards. One of the kids was I bought a card for him. It was a LeBron James card, and I took a picture with him. If you do see it on my page, he has all the badges, showing all the badges. He was like big
Yeah.
badge. It was a dope moment for me and him. He came to me and was like, "Yo, Doc, I watch your content." So I
Isn't that
decided,
cool? That's pretty cool, right? When kids come up to you and say they like watching your content, that's pretty awesome.
man, it's nothing but a blessing, man. Let me know I'm changing someone's life that could change the world, you know. So for me, I look into that mindset. He could help me out 15, 20 years later. Like that, it's all a perspective on life and how I look at things. But with him, I bought a car from him as well. I told him I was gonna come back buy from him, and then also I bought another car, which was, let's see, it was an autograph card from it was an Eagles player. I forgot. No, Goldberg, the tight end. I found the auto from him. I'm an Eagles fan, so I was like, let me grab that.
Dallas Goddard.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
There you
Get
go.
off that.
Listen, I didn't get enough chance to buy stuff. Every night since I've been home, I bought at least a dozen cards on eBay. They're starting to get shipped to me now. It's amazing. Like I'm making up for it by just buying, and buying cards because I didn't come home with a ton of stuff. I came home with an extra bag though. There's so much swag, so many goodies, so many T-shirts, so many freebies and stuff that I actually had to check my suitcase with my clothes in it because I had a whole extra bag. I flew there with one bag, nothing checked. The backpack and like a wheelie case. And when I got to the airport on the way home, I had my wheelie case. I had another bag. I'm like, wow, I left with an entirely extra bag. I had to check a bag. No such thing as free. All those free T-shirts cost me $30 in bag checking. So it is what it is. So I got one more thing for you, Doc, because I love talking to you. We could talk for hours, right? But there's a question that I could ask. Most of the time, I ask questions, I can answer them. All right, that's kind of one of the things I teach you in law school. Like, don't ask a question you don't know the answer to. But I'm gonna violate that rule here because it's a question that you can answer and I can't. So I'm gonna leave it and just kind of just let you go. Take it as short, as long, any direction you want to go. You started off this episode here talking about diversity. That was your word for the show, right? And you've seen different companies take strides in trying to spread diversity to the hobby, trying to bring diverse cultures and people to the hobby. What steps would you like to see taken going forward as we approach shows going forward, the next national, whether there's another mint, whether Fanatics events go forward, the hobby in general? What are some things you'd like to see the hobby overall embrace and do so that continued progress towards diversity in the hobby, we can continue that progress?
I want all my content creators, influencers, everyone, please listen to me when I say this. Open up. Give us more. Give us more. And what I mean by that is like open up your perspective of the content that you're putting out and open up the vastity of what you can do. When I'm talking about business wise, become businessmen and women in this. Um, when you do partnerships, think about equity in companies that are rising. I'm giving y'all gems here. Seriously, put yourself in a perspective to be happy in this space. If you plan on making a living in this space, do it the right way. Deal with the right people. It ain't what you know, it's who you know. And when you come around who you know, you learn from that, and it's what you know after that. Like seriously, all my content creators, like, give more than just cards. Talk to people. Open up to people. Be yourself. I've recently seen C Blast just talked about on Instagram about opening up about having problems, and sometimes he just like leave away from the hobby for a second, or why he in his house all the time and things of that nature. Reason why is because we go through things on a daily basis. Seem human to people. Be a human. Be a human being. If you don't see color, we're all human beings on this earth. Like, yo, treat people how you want to be treated. And from there, I feel like this space will open up. I feel like, yo, there's times where, and I'm gonna make this real quick. There's a
As
few.
long as you need.
I want to shout out to a few individuals when I first got into this hobby. Wiz the Collector, Mr. Get It and Flip It, and Prism Guy. When I first went to my first show, Coach Collision, I always talk about this story. I came to them with a Kevin Durant Don Russ auto. No, it was a Don Russ patch auto. And they came to me and was like, yo, we like the car, we like what you asking for, but you want to look into things like Flawless. You want to look into things like National Treasures, where they stand the tales of time. They're going to be profitable in the next 15 or 20 years. And when I got that, I got knowledge. Give people what they need, because I could have left the hobby 4 years ago when I heard that, and they could have took me the wrong direction, or they could have, juked me, or they could have cheated me out of my money.
Yep.
Now I look back at that and I'm like, hey, I'm appreciative of people like that, and I want people to be able to, be honest with people in this hobby, and I feel like it will go a long way. I could have got cheated a long time ago and left this hobby and never been Dr.
Well, it's
Collectible.
like what you said. You're treating people the right way, and that's somebody, a kid who might be able to help you out one day, 15 years from now. And now, you've gone in this hobby for 4 years. You're now the ambassador of the national. I'm sure you can probably help out Prism God at the next Culture Collision. Now, with the notoriety that you have, I'm sure you'll work with them. And that only happens because your first entry into the hobby, those folks took you under their wing and, kind of tried to educate you a little bit on, the right type of cards. And they could have just as easily have, lowballed you, tried to scam you, you name it. And they didn't. I think the hobby's pretty good like that. I think, we're overall, it's a pretty good space. I like it. So listen, I'm just going to say this. We just spent our time in Chicago where there are thousands of cards that we use phrases like, that card's in perfect shape, that card's pristine. The cards are all great, but it's the people who are the gem mint tens, and you're definitely one of them, Doc. And I love the relationships that were built out there, that were strengthened out there. I know you built a whole bunch more. I love the message that you have for kids, for other members of the hobby. And, if there's anything that I can do to help you, you are a national treasure in 2023, part of the National Treasure Series. Thanks, Doc.
Thank you, brother.